can't remember the exact date, but it was like 600 or something. They says your religion's been taken over. And I think they came right out and they didn't make any bones. You know, they were very forward about it. They says you've been taken over. You're not telling the truth anymore. You're basically doing lies, religious garbage. They called us out on it. And so there are people who were aware that our religion was taken over. And the Muslims still pride themselves that they call Jesus by his real name. You get their literature. It's right in their literature. Somebody gave me some literature from the Muslims, and yeah, it's probably the true name that they call him, or very close to it. I mean, I've heard the name Yeshua. I mean, what we really need to do is we need to get our scholars together, and we need to say, okay, we don't even know the name of our prophet. You need to go to the Muslims, or you need to go to some books somewhere, scrolls, figure out what this was, what his name was. We don't even know his name. I mean, I'm thinking it was Yeshua. Emmanuel, Yeshua, I don't know. I mean, it could... Can't even say that we know what it is now. Maybe the Muslims had it right. But it was probably an Aramaic word, because he was Aramaic. And they didn't have a J in Aramaic. There was no J in Aramaic. So where's this Jesus come from? They couldn't even come up with a word without a J in it. I mean, they really left a thing there that's obvious. I guess they figured if they kill everyone off, they can convince us of this. That, you know, kill everybody off, use the true name, and start using the new name in Mass and everything. And then they changed everything to Latin. They changed it all to Latin. That wasn't the original language of our religion. It was Hebrew, some form of Hebrew, probably Aramaic. It was either Hebrew or Aramaic or both. And they so we got to get some scholars. We got to figure out what we had, because we don't even know what we have now. It's been lost. There's old books that have been found. There's old scrolls. They couldn't burn all the books. There's stuff being found in libraries, in countries where there's no Christianity. They found books that were on the back shelf somewhere, or buried in caves that were forgotten. And these people that were burning all the books, they just missed it. They weren't able to go into Tibet and destroy everything. Although the communists came in the 50s and destroyed a lot of stuff, but they weren't able to get everything. And of course the communists probably don't really care about Christianity, so they might not have been going after that stuff, but they did destroy a lot of stuff. But some things survived in places where they weren't really looking for this kind of thing. And it's out there, you can find it. There's things out there, and they testify that, yeah, it was changed. What they had before the 300s is different than what they had after. Somebody came in and pulled the rug out from the whole religion. They probably did it over a period of time. I mean, even while Yeshua was still alive, they were changing his name. And he didn't like it, according to the book that I mentioned. So yeah, it's messed up. It's really messed up. And by its fruits you will know it. We have in our religion pedophilia and all kinds of... I mean, if you change something that was good and balanced, you start making changes to it, even if the changes aren't bad, you're going to make it imbalanced. It's going to be imbalanced, and that's what it is. That's what it's been. It's imbalanced. It doesn't have integrity. And so now you're going to have all kinds of bad things coming out of it. You got this pedophilia, and it's been there for a long time. Saint Francis talked about it, and that's what he made an agreement with the Pope. You stop that, and I'll stop trying to get converts to my way. He says if you stop selling indulgences, which was wrong, and God has a say about this stuff too. Cryon talked, he has a thing to say too. I think he kind of represents God in some way. You can't say he's God, but he speaks for God in some way. He's the voice of God, I guess you could say, or at least he's close to the voice of God as I can perceive. And he said, yeah, they were messed up from the beginning. He says many great things about Yeshua. He was not a bad person, and neither was the founder of the Muslim religion. The founder of the Muslim religion was a good person too. But they made changes later on, after Christianity was changed, they got into the Muslim religion. I don't know if they got into all the Muslim religions, but they got into some of them. Enough of them that they created some problems. And we have it today, it's violent. Some of the same errors got into the Muslim religion later on. I wonder if they noticed that or not. But we got to change it back. And what Cryon said, he's asking the church of one really big thing. Hinduism had women priests from the very beginning, and they still do. And they still have a lot of the good things that they started out with 10,000 years ago. So in a way, that preservation, that protection, in a way they have it. They have that by their truth. And the people have God within their heart. And unless they leave the religion, they're going to know this is true. And the religion's going to remain the same. And for the most part it has. And they're drawn to what's true. And if something comes along that they see as good, they'll adopt it. Like the Jews came up with the concept there's only one God. That all these different names are actually all names for the same God. And that was, a few 3,000 years ago or so that came out. Well, the Hindus adopted it right away, it seems. And there was a time when Hinduism was more than likely a polytheistic religion. But they adopted it, and it's in their scriptures. There's one God. So they have the flexibility to be able to say, we can add this to our religion. We don't have such a dogmatic religion. We can't be flexible. So they have a flexibility, whereas Christianity doesn't have that. They don't have that flexibility. If aliens land on the White House and say reincarnation is true, they don't really have the flexibility to go with that. They're going to really have to do some soul searching to be able to adopt that, because it goes against what they taught since 300 and some AD. It's going to be really hard for them to come back to the truth, because they're going to have to admit that they were wrong for 1,700 years. Because they did not believe it, they condemned anyone that did, and they'd kill you. They'd arrest you. They arrested the Pope for believing in reincarnation. So they're going to have a hard time. And of course they got rid of, I don't think they ever had male priests in the church. I could be wrong though. I mean, if anybody knows that, let me know. When they had female priests in the Christian religion, there might be some obscure group that does have it. I don't know. Maybe the Gnostics had it or something like that. The thing is, if they had it in Europe, they probably were killed off. There might be people in Africa that have some different practices, but there's not very many of them.